They say a man dies twice. The first time is when his heart stops beating. The second is quieter, lonelier, when the very part of him that once burned with life no longer responds. It doesn't happen overnight. There's no sudden crash, no alarm bell. It starts with something small, so small you might not even notice. A faint tightness in your groin, a strange dull cramp when you're aroused, or the unsettling realization that the morning wake-ups you once took for granted have slowly faded away, and at first you tell yourself it's nothing. Maybe you're just tired, maybe it's stress, maybe it's normal for your age. But deep down, in the quiet moments, you know something has changed, something vital. I've spoken to countless men in their 60s, 70s, even their 80s, who have looked me in the eye and said, "Doc, I feel like I'm disappearing, not just from my partner's life, but from my own." Because when this part of you starts to weaken, it's not just about intimacy. It's about confidence, energy, vitality. It's about the fire in your chest when you feel desired. It's about that deep, wordless connection with the person you love. And when it slips away, piece by piece, it can feel like losing yourself. But here's the truth most men never hear. This decline isn't always inevitable. That tightness, that weakness, that strange off feeling, it's often your body's very first whisper for help. A warning sign, not of age, but of circulation breaking down. I've spent over 30 years as a doctor, specializing in men's health. I've seen men come into my office convinced their best days were gone, only to walk out weeks later with strength, drive, and vitality they thought they'd lost forever. And here's the part no one tells you. The key to turning things around often isn't hiding in a pill bottle. It's hiding in plain sight, in the foods you choose, the way you nourish your body every single day. Foods that can naturally open blood vessels, that can restore nitric oxide, the lifeblood of circulation, that can bring power back, without side effects, without forcing, without faking. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, because your story isn't over. It doesn't matter if you're 60, 70, or beyond. Your body is capable of more than you've been led to believe, and in the next few minutes, you're going to see why. Most men think the first real sign of decline comes with age spots, gray hair, maybe a little stiffness in the knees. Some think it's the memory lapses or the shortness of breath when you take the stairs. But for millions of men over 60, the first true warning sign doesn't show up in your joints or your heart. It shows up down there. And it's not always obvious. It might feel like a gentle squeeze, a strange, almost cramp-like tightness when you're aroused. It might be a slow loss of firmness, a delay in response time, or an unfamiliar heaviness in your groin. It might even feel like your body is hesitating, unsure if it can follow through. Here's what's really happening. Your penis is a finely tuned network of blood vessels and soft tissue. It's not muscle you can flex into shape. It's a hydraulic system. Blood flows in, fills the chambers, and creates the firmness you remember. But when those blood vessels start to narrow, stiffen, or spasm, the system falters. That dull tightness you sometimes feel, that's not in your head. That's your blood vessels crying out. It's your body warning you that circulation is breaking down in one of the most delicate, demanding systems you have. And if it's happening there, It's probably happening elsewhere too. Your groin is just where you notice it first, because the penile arteries are some of the smallest in the body. If they're struggling, your heart and brain may know. It'd be far behind. The tragedy is, most men ignore this signal. They chalk it up to age, to stress, to just one of those things. Meanwhile, the problem quietly worsens, until it's not just intimacy that suffers, but energy, stamina, and even cardiovascular health. But here's the good news. This early warning sign is also an early opportunity. It's your body's way of giving you a head start, time to act before deeper damage sets in. And the solution isn't as complicated as you think, because the same foods that can restore healthy blood flow to your heart, can restore it to your manhood. And when you give your body the right fuel, it remembers exactly what to do. Food, 1. Beets, the circulation charger. I'll be honest. If you'd asked me 20 years ago whether a humble beet could have anything to do with a man's erections, I might have smiled politely and changed the subject. It just sounds unlikely. After all, beets are the kind of thing you picture in salads, not in the conversation about restoring vitality. But then I started noticing a pattern in my patients, men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, who began adding beets to their diet. They weren't just feeling a little healthier, they were reporting firmer, longer-lasting erections, more stamina, and that strange tightness in their groin was beginning to fade. It wasn't a coincidence. You see, beets are loaded with natural nitrates. Your body takes those nitrates and turns them into nitric oxide, a tiny, invisible molecule that just happens to be your body's master key for circulation. Think of nitric oxide like the oil in a machine. It keeps everything smooth, flexible, and able to respond instantly. After 60, your nitric oxide production drops sharply. Your blood vessels start to stiffen, and the ones in your penis, already tiny, are among the first to feel the strain. That's when you notice sluggish arousal, weaker erections, and that uncomfortable tightening during intimacy. Beets work like a natural pump primer. They help relax and expand the blood vessels, allowing more blood to flow where it's needed, especially in the erectile tissue. When blood flows better, everything works better. One of my patients, Jim, a 68-year-old retired firefighter, came to me frustrated. He had the will, but not the physical response. I suggested something simple, 1 small glass of fresh beet juice each morning. He looked at me like I'd just told him to drink dirt, but he agreed to try. 2 weeks later, Jim came back grinning. "Doc, I don't know if it's coincidence, but my mornings are starting to feel like they used to." That's the power of giving your body what it's been missing. It's not magic. It's biology finally getting the support it needs. The best part? You don't have to overhaul your diet. You can drink beet juice in the morning, roast them for dinner, or even blend them into a smoothie. Over time, those small choices can quietly rebuild what the years have taken away. And while beets are powerful on their own, the next food works in a way that almost mimics prescription erection pills without the side effects. It can help cool down those subtle vascular spasms that steal your firmness. Let's talk about watermelon. Food number 2. Watermelon, the blood flow booster. For most of my life, I thought watermelon was just a sweet summer snack, something you slice up for a picnic or a backyard barbecue. Refreshing? Absolutely. Important for men's health? I would have said no. I was wrong. Hidden in that crisp, juicy fruit, especially in the pale white rind that most people throw away, is a compound called citrulline. and citrulline is one of nature's most powerful vasodilators. That means it helps your blood vessels relax and open, allowing blood to flow more freely, especially to the most sensitive parts of your body. Imagine a garden hose with a kink in it. Water still trickles through, but it's weak, inconsistent, and frustrating. That's what narrowed or stiffened blood vessels are like in a man's body. Citrulline is like reaching down and straightening that hose. Suddenly the flow returns, strong and steady. After 60, your vessels naturally lose some flexibility. They don't open as easily, so when arousal comes, it can feel forced, slower, or even slightly uncomfortable. Some men describe it as a dull, lingering pressure in the groin, not quite pain, but enough to make intimacy feel different. That's where watermelon comes in. I had a patient, Richard, in his late 60s, who blended both the red flesh and the white rind into a smoothie every morning. No pills, no procedures, just a blender and a piece of fruit. Within 2 weeks, Richard called my office. "Doc," he said, "I didn't realize how much I missed waking up like this." The tightness he'd been feeling was gone. His erections were stronger, his stamina better, and most importantly, he felt confident again. Unlike pharmaceuticals, watermelon doesn't force your body into action. It supports your natural ability to regulate blood flow. It's gentle, effective, and completely natural. And when you combine watermelon with beets, the results often multiply. One opens the vessels, the other fills them with strong, energized blood. You don't have to make it complicated. Blend it into a morning drink, slice it up for a snack, or eat it after dinner as a sweet, healthy dessert. The key is consistency. Give your body the fuel it needs every day, and it will remember how to respond. But there's still one more piece of the puzzle. A food that's not a fruit or vegetable, yet holds 3 essential nutrients your manhood depends on to stay strong, responsive, and ready. And it's probably something you've been throwing away your whole life. Let's talk about pumpkin seeds. Food. 3. Pumpkin seeds. The erection mineral mine. If there's one food I wish every man over 60 knew about, it's this: the humble pumpkin seed. Small, unassuming, often scooped out and tossed straight into the trash without a second thought. But here's the truth. These little seeds are a mineral powerhouse, quietly packed with 3 nutrients that directly determine your ability to get and stay hard. The first is magnesium, nature's muscle relaxer. It helps your blood vessels release tension and prevents the tiny spasms that cause that strange, uncomfortable tightness during arousal. The second is zinc, the unsung hero of testosterone production. Without enough zinc, your testosterone levels can plummet, dragging your desire, energy, and performance down with them. And the third is arginine, an amino acid that your body uses to make nitric oxide, the very same circulation booster we talked about with beets. Arginine is like the fuel that keeps your blood flow engine running. One of my patients, Paul, was a retired Air Force veteran in his early 70s. Disciplined, fit, sharp as a tack. But when it came to intimacy, he kept feeling a persistent pressure in his groin, no sharp pain, just a tension that wouldn't go away. I suggested something simple: 1 tablespoon of raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds every day. Paul was skeptical. "Seeds, Doc? Really?" But he agreed to try. 3 weeks later, he returned with a smile that said everything before he even spoke. "Morning wood's back," he said, "and that tension, gone." That's the power of pumpkin seeds. They're not flashy, they don't taste exotic, but they quietly deliver exactly what your body needs to function at its best. Adding them to your day is almost effortless. Sprinkle them on oatmeal, blend them into a smoothie, toss them into a salad, or just eat them plain as a snack. No cooking, no prep, no excuses. And here's where it gets exciting. When you combine pumpkin seeds with beets and watermelon, you're not just adding nutrients, you're building a circulation trifecta. Each one supports the next, creating a compounding effect that can reignite your erections faster than you might believe. We'll talk about that synergy in a moment. But first, understand this. You don't have to overhaul your life to change your performance. Sometimes the smallest daily habits, like eating a handful of seeds, can spark the biggest transformations. Now let's bring all three of these foods together and see how they work as one unstoppable team. Why these three foods work together. The circulation trifecta. Eating a healthy food here and there is good. But eating the right foods in the right combination every single day, that's where the real magic happens. Beets, watermelon, and pumpkin seeds might seem like three random items, but when you look closer, they each target the same problem: poor circulation from different angles. It's like rebuilding an old engine. One part cleans the fuel lines, another opens the valves, and the last makes sure the fuel keeps flowing strong. Beets start the process by boosting nitric oxide, which opens up your blood vessels and lays the foundation for stronger blood flow. They're the ignition key that tells your system, let's get moving again. Watermelon, especially the citrulline-rich rind, steps in next. It soothes the tiny arteries in your penis, reducing the microspasms that steal your firmness and consistency. Think of it as a gentle hand, easing the tension and letting blood flow naturally. Pumpkin seeds keep everything running. They deliver zinc to fuel testosterone, magnesium to relax vessel walls, and arginine to keep nitric oxide levels high. It's the maintenance crew that ensures the improvements you feel aren't just temporary, they last. Individually, each of these foods can help. But together, they create a synergy, a compounding effect, where the results are bigger than the sum of the parts. Men who combine them often feel changes sooner, with more consistent performance and fewer off days. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even early 80s who thought they were far gone, come back in just a few short weeks looking and feeling like themselves again because they fed their bodies exactly what was missing. And the best part? There's no complicated routine, no endless list of foods to memorize. Just three simple ingredients you can weave into your day with almost no effort. If you're ready to feel the difference, not in months, but in days, then it's time to put this trifecta into action. But before we get to the exact plan, there's something you need to understand. The single biggest mistake most men make after 60, and why it could be holding you back right now. The one mistake men over 60 make. If there's one pattern I've seen over and over in my decades of working with men, it's this. Most guys, when they notice things aren't working like they used to, go looking for the quick fix. A little blue pill, a prescription their buddy swears by, something they can take right now to make it work tonight. And sure, those pills can force an erection. They can push blood through your system for a few hours. But here's the truth. They don't fix the why. They don't repair stiff, narrowed blood vessels. They don't restore nitric oxide levels. They don't eliminate that dull pressure or tension in your groin. All they do is slam on the gas in a car with a clogged fuel line. It might move for a while, but the engine is still breaking down underneath. I've had men come to me with disappointment in their eyes, telling me, "Doc, the pills aren't working like they used to." And I have to remind them, your penis isn't broken. It's undernourished. It's running on fumes. The men who truly restore their function, their energy, and their confidence aren't the ones chasing a pill before every encounter. They're the ones who go deeper, who rebuild their circulation, fuel their hormones, and strengthen their systems from the inside out. And the goo, it news. It doesn't take a perfect diet or hours in the kitchen or an extreme lifestyle overhaul. It just takes a few intentional changes done consistently. That's exactly what I'm going to give you next. A simple, practical 7-day action plan that puts beets, watermelon, and pumpkin seeds to work for you every single day. No guesswork, no complicated recipes, no unrealistic demands. Just a routine you can start tomorrow morning and keep for life. Your 7-day action plan. Now that you know what to eat and why it works, the question becomes, how do you make it part of your life without overcomplicating it? I've worked with thousands of men who were motivated, understood the science, and believed in the idea, but didn't know where to start. So they didn't. That's why I created this simple 7-day action plan. No guesswork, no complex prep, just a routine you can follow starting tomorrow morning. Morning. Beets. Start your day with a small glass of fresh beet juice on an empty stomach. This wakes up your circulation, boosts nitric oxide, and primes your body for the day ahead. If juice isn't your thing, roast a batch of beets and keep them in the fridge to add to salads or snacks. Mid-morning. Watermelon. Blend both the red flesh and the white rind into a smoothie. The citrulline in that rind works best when your body is already awake and moving, gently relaxing those tiny vessels that matter most. Afternoon. Pumpkin seeds. Grab a small handful of raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds. Eat them plain, sprinkle on yogurt, or toss into a salad. These seeds are working quietly, fueling testosterone, relaxing vessel walls, and keeping nitric oxide levels high. All day. Hydrate, move, drink plenty of water, take short walks, or stretch every couple of hours. Good blood flow isn't just about what you eat, it's about keeping your body in motion. And here's the most important part. This isn't about perfection, it's about rhythm. Day after day, you're rebuilding, nourishing, and reawakening systems that have been slowing down for years. Follow this plan for just 1 week, and many men start to feel changes, more energy, more responsiveness, and a quiet confidence returning. And while food lays the foundation, there's one last piece I want to leave you with. A message about why this journey matters far beyond the physical changes. Final doctor's message. Emotional close. If you've made it this far, I want you to hear me clearly. You are not broken. You are not too old, and you have not missed your chance. I've seen men who thought their story was over, who felt like they were fading away, not just in their relationships, but in themselves, come back to life in ways they never thought possible. I've seen the spark return to their eyes. I've seen them walk a little taller, speak with more certainty, laugh more easily. Not because of a magic pill or a costly procedure, but because they chose to rebuild from the inside out. We've talked about food, circulation, erections, but let's be honest, this is about much more than that. This is about reclaiming a part of yourself that the world told you to accept losing. It's about refusing to quietly shrink into the background of your own life. For many men, the loss of sexual vitality is a quiet kind of grief. It's not something we talk about at the dinner table. It's not something we admit to our friends. It sits heavy in the background, chipping away at our confidence, our connection, our joy. But here's the truth. Your body is capable of renewal, even now, even after years of telling yourself, maybe this is just the way it is. Your blood vessels can open again. Your tissue can come back to life. Your confidence can be rebuilt, step by step, choice by choice. And it doesn't require perfection. It requires intention. A decision to stop waiting for change and to start creating it. So, as you think about what you've heard today, I want you to remember this. You are still that man. The one who feels alive in his own skin. The one who knows the quiet power of desire. The one who can look in the mirror and see strength, vitality, and pride staring back. This journey isn't just about restoring function, it's about restoring you. And the best time to start is now. So tomorrow morning, pour that beet juice. Blend that watermelon smoothie. Grab that handful of pumpkin seeds. Because with every small choice, you're telling your body, I'm still here, I'm still strong, and I'm not done yet. This is not the end of your story. This is where it begins. Conclusion. This is where it begins. If you've stayed with me through this journey, I want to thank you. Not just for listening, but for caring enough about yourself to be here, right now, taking this in. That choice, to pay attention, to be open, to learn, already sets you apart. We've covered a lot today. You've learned how beets can reignite nitric oxide and restore blood flow, how watermelon, especially the rind, can relax blood vessels and melt away that deep groin tension, and how pumpkin seeds can quietly rebuild your strength with the very minerals your body has been craving for years. Individually, they're powerful. Together, they're a circulation trifecta, a simple, natural formula that can change the way you feel in just days. But this isn't just about blood flow or erections, it's about identity. It's about waking up in the morning and feeling alive. It's about connection with your partner, with yourself, with the life you still want to live fully. I've seen it time and again. The return of morning wood after years without it. The quiet confidence in a man's voice when he realizes he can still perform, still connect, still be that man. The smile that shows up after weeks of doubt. This is not about turning back the clock. It's about moving forward with strength, with knowledge, with intention. So here's my challenge to you. Take the plan you've just learned and commit to it for the next 7 days. No halfway effort, no, I'll start next week. Start tomorrow morning. Feel the difference for yourself. And when you do, share it. Your story might be the spark another man needs to reclaim his own health, confidence, and vitality. Because there is no age limit on pleasure, no expiration date on connection, and no reason you can't feel strong, capable, and fully alive again. This isn't the end. This is where it begins.